Yo, Tundra, welcome to the Snowy Bevilex 2025 Oblivion Modlist Mega Guide. This is a long-awaited series. I've had lots of comments in the 2024 Let's Play of people wondering how to set up their Oblivion the way that I have. And that's what this guide is going to be. Today, you're going to be seeing the installation of Bevilex's Modlist. There's a few any changes or INI file changes I've made and that we will explain as we're going. And I also have chosen to use a different EMB. There's a few other things I have opted to change from the Bevilex recommended set of mods. So I want to make sure I get no credit for putting these together. If anything, I would love to just be able to create something that is digestible, easy to follow, and get your game looking the way you want it to. I also want to mention that I'm not the most experienced modder. I have been modding casually for the last decade, but I also have not dove into it in grave detail. I know the basics, and that's what you're going to be seeing in this video. So if you're tuning in to watch that, thank you so much. Also, you might be tuning in due to the requests for an installation guide after our 2024 series that we did. We did a similar Bevilex Modlist showcase, but in this build there are more changes and more tweaks. So hopefully I'll be able to guide you through this smoothly. Modding is about having fun and enjoying that intimate level of change and detail with your games. So be patient with yourself, be patient with me as we dive through this. I have never made a video guide before. I have done written guides in the past. I even did a written guide for our 2024 series, but it was admittedly really hard to follow, as a lot can go wrong and a lot of troubleshooting on different machines is necessary most of the time. So you can follow someone else's build, but there are some issues you might run into, some simple things that you may not have thought of or not know of, that might not make sense in the moment. But then you find out, wow, how is that even possible? We'll get into some of those weird situations later on in the video. So what you're looking at here is Bevilex's Modlist for Oblivion. This is the graphical overhaul that has well over 2 million views, which is actually crazy. There's over 100,000 unique downloads on this, and it is a widely appreciated list of mods for people to relive their memories. So this will be within the zip file, a link to this that you download from this video. This was updated December 30th, 2023. Now, if you're following exactly what I'm doing, technically this would be a 2025 list of mods. None of the mods are updated as of 2025. The most recent being, I believe, November or even October of 2024. Make sure you guys get familiar with this list and with this link. You're going to be using this. We're going to be using this and following it extensively. Anything that we do, if you're wondering, you can always refer to this list and you can say, okay, I do or don't want this. I do or don't want to do it this way. And so on. There are recommended Bevilex's settings that you can also follow here. But I will show you guys how to get your game looking exactly like mine, and with a few additional mods ready to go. Within this, you're going to be able to see the trees that are marked as spoilers. You can click show and you can scroll through each one and read about each individual mod and so on. There's a few issues within this that Bevilex has edited, but I have fixed it in the mod list that you guys will be downloading. But be sure to leave some comments below if you have any questions. I will try to respond to those, but keep in mind, if it's years down the road, depending on what mods are available or not, this build may be depreciated. This happens a lot with older games where mods are removed from the site or the access to them is limited. Future Snowy here to go ahead and explain to you guys how you're going to access our folder tree for the guide series. This is our official Nexus mod page that has the graphical overhaul guide, presets, and inis. You'll navigate to the files tab and you'll go ahead and download the Snowy Bevilex Oblivion folder tree. We're currently on version 1.5, and then we also have the optional files which Snowy will talk about throughout the guide series. This will be much more reliable than trying to use our Discord server to access the download. So the Discord server will only be for emergencies if anything were to happen to the Nexus mod page. And you can find the link to this in the description below, along with our Discord invite link. I also want to mention that anytime Snowy references the file as Sammy Bevilex Oblivion, I have gone ahead and renamed it to Snowy Bevilex. It was in the middle of the guide series when I changed this, and it was because I didn't want to confuse this channel with our Pokemon channel, Sammy. Alright, so let's jump right into the list. I know this took more than 5 minutes to get to this point, but you got to keep in mind that this is going to take a while. The first time I did this, it took multiple days. So once you download the Sammy Bevilex Oblivion 2025 zip file, go ahead and extract that, and you're going to get a folder, Sammy Bevilex Oblivion 2025. You can go ahead and open that, and you can see the tree. On the left panel, I'm going to be following the same thing, except everything is already downloaded for me. Within these folders is going to be a layout in order from 0 to however many folders there are numbered chronologically for you to download and install. I recommend following this video just to make sure you install them in the correct order, and also making sure you do it in the correct manner. Otherwise, I can't help you at that point. A disclaimer with this is that this file is only 4 kilobytes in size. There are no mods that you'll be able to access from this download, only the order in which I did it. Of course, you don't even need to download this, and you can just follow the order from this guide, download them, and put them directly into the Wrye installer folder and follow along. Let's go ahead and open up the programs folder. You're going to see 00 Oblivion install recommendations. So you can start with that and say, okay, well, what is this? When you click this shortcut, it'll open to a Gamer Poets YouTube video showcasing and explaining exactly how to install your Oblivion. To learn about each setting, you can go ahead and follow mine, but I just wanted this to be here as a resource for you all to know exactly what you're going to be getting into with the fresh install of your Oblivion. The second folder is going to be Wrye, which is going to be used for managing all of our mods and installing them, as well as managing our plugins and bashing a patch, which we'll explain later. Within these folders, you're going to see a text file within each one. These text files are going to be identical, at least up to the version of what your downloaded file should look like. And an example will be this. You'll see I already have the installer here, but you will have to go download the installer yourself by clicking on this internet shortcut link. It'll take you to the Nexus page for Wrye, and you can grab the exact same installer that I have. You'll be able to do this with every single mod within this tree. But before that, let's go ahead and get Steam booted up and get Oblivion installed. So as you can see, here is my Steam. We're going to be running Game of the Year Edition, the Steam version. If you're running GOG, I will not be able to help you. I don't know enough information regarding other Oblivion installations. So you'll have to look within the Nexus forums. You have to look for help maybe from the modders themselves. But due to the nature of the way mods are handled, I won't be able to help you in any way. We're going to click install. I have chosen to put this on my C drive. I have another file window here to show you exactly where I'm going to be putting this. So I have a games folder within my C drive. Do not install Steam to your program files or program files by 86 folders. The reason is that the permissions to edit, to read and write data gets really weird when games, or specifically Steam games, are installed in those folders. So I recommend uninstalling and doing a fresh install elsewhere. I could also do it on my D drive, an NVMe storage, but my current local disk has 2 terabytes of space and is on a Samsung 990 Pro NVMe. So I decided that I would just stick with my C drive, but I made a separate folder within it called Games, and I installed Steam there. So within Steam, we're going to have Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and it's going to be installed here. Let's go ahead and install that. Local drive C. And this should only take a few minutes, depending on your internet speed, hopefully. A few minutes. But we'll go ahead and skip to after this is installed. Okay, so Oblivion has been installed, as you heard with that little sound. So let's go ahead and get some settings configured. A side note, if you have Steam Cloud on, your Oblivion should have just generated your saves. Best way you can look for this is going to be navigating to local disk C. You can go find your users, go to your account. So mine is going to be Sammy Snow, or Snowy Sam, depending on what channel you guys are watching. You're going to navigate to your OneDrive in my case. If it's not in your OneDrive, if you don't use OneDrive, if you've never used it before, it'll just be in your documents here. But otherwise, it'll be in your OneDrive documents. And you'll see my games, Oblivion saves. And you can see it just generated just now the old saves of mine. So these are all in. They're all synced. And Oblivion has been installed. The other thing we can navigate to now is our Steam folder. If you remember, I had this file explorer open with our common. Again, this is on my local disk C, games, Steam, Steam apps, common, and then there's Oblivion. Alternatively, you can right click and go manage, browse local files, and that will also pull up this Oblivion folder you can see here. Make sure that before you did install, if you had anything sitting around in your old Oblivion installation when you went to your Steam apps common, if there's anything there, make sure you deleted that. You just got rid of it. Same thing with your saves. You can back them up, of course, first if you're nervous. Feel free to back up the saves we just showed you in the My Documents. You can also back up any old Oblivion files that were sitting in your Steam apps common folder. I personally deleted everything beforehand, as you guys saw, and I have a complete fresh reinstallation of Oblivion. So the first thing I will do is I'm going to actually go to properties, and I'm going to be making sure the overlay is off. Now I've already disabled it. I guess it saves this setting within the Steam, but yours should be on by default. We're going to want to disable that because one of the first things we're installing is called XOBSE, which recommends we keep the Steam overlay on, but then other plugins and other things like our EMB can break when you have this enabled later, and it still works with it disabled. So you can go ahead and disable that now. I can't vouch for any kind of stability. If you have this on later on and you have any problems, I wouldn't know where to begin. So I'm turning this off. You can launch Oblivion here from here. It'll say in the Oblivion launcher, Oblivion will now detect your video hardware. Let me turn down the volume for you. And set video options accordingly. Mine were unrecognized, set it to medium. I'm going to go ahead and options, and I'm going to click ultra high. Now, you can see my resolution automatically went to 1024 by 768. I'm running a 1920 by 1080 monitor. I do have a connected 4K monitor on my right side, but I'm not going to be using that for the game. Make sure you have anti-aliasing off. This will have conflictions later if we leave this on. We're also going to get some more performance out of it. AA really only fixes like edging on different models. When you're playing in the game, it'll make things look a little bit smoother, but we're going to want this off since we're going to be running EMB. You can leave it as full screen here for now. We're going to be changing this setting later. At least I will be running borderless windowed. You can also turn VSync off. We're going to be frame capping anyway. But with this off, keep in mind your game will run extremely fast. So we're going to edit the ini file later, but not through the launcher. We're going to hit OK. As long as your graphics card was selected, you can exit. That should have generated all of our files that we were looking for within the Oblivion folder. So let's pull this up. And it should also have generated an ini file in the local disk C, users, your account, OneDrive, documents, and now there should be an Oblivion ini file. And there it is. Now, alternatively, you could open this and you could just get into the game to mess with your settings. As you can tell, my game is extremely loud. The first thing I always do is turn the audio down. I have a preset that I like for my audio, generally speaking, so I'm going to go ahead and set those now. Okay, so this may look like a weird balance, but this is what I've found to be most enjoyable when I stream this video game, as turning the effects down just a little bit makes it a little more bearable to speak over and to listen to. I like to have the footsteps and the effect volumes match. Sometimes I turn down the footsteps even further if the armor, especially heavy armor, is super annoying later. I actually turn up the music and then turn the master volume down. So I love the music in the game, and I like it as a nice background for when I'm streaming. So you can go ahead and hit start new if you'd like, and just generate a character just to see if your game is working.
I was born 87 years ago.
Okay, so this seems good. Things are running currently. This is the base game of Oblivion, so let's memorize this, as things are going to drastically change. Ooh, okay, sensitivity is another thing I like to change.
An Imperial in the Imperial prison. I guess they don't play
A little pro tip for anyone. If you press your caps lock key with the default settings, it will force you to run all the time. If you go to your inventory and then turn it off, you can tab back out of your inventory and you'll always be running. I just prefer to leave it on that way. So what we're going to go ahead and do is actually edit a few things here. We're going to leave, actually, I like having general and dialogue subtitles on. I like all the saving. I prefer it because things can go whack sometimes. Occasionally the game can crash. Things like that can happen. For the video, you can opt to change these now, but I'm also going to just edit the Oblivion ini at the end. The main thing to note here is that self-shadows can be really finicky depending on the EMB you guys install. So keep that in mind. Shadows on grass as well. You can play with those settings later, but do not edit them from in-game beyond looking into our core files. I actually would strongly recommend locking your ini from being editable unless you turn off that option, which we will do later. We'll show you how to do that. Make sure you have HDR on and bloom off. If you have HDR off, you will not be able to run the ENB that we're going to be using. And most of the time we turn off water ripples to save some resources with EMP. Anti-aliasing also needs to be turned off for our situation. Go ahead and go into controls. I'd turn this way down. Choose a sensitivity. I also will change all the controls now. So on my keyboard, I like to swap activate with E. So make sure that space then gets swapped to jump. I like to leave the auto move. I leave always run as how it is there. I like ready a weapon to be R, and I like the change view to be F, personally. You choose your settings how you want them. I only like to cast from my mouse, so I'm going to select cast and press my button K on my mouse. And my ini is where I want it to be until we edit it manually later on at the end of the build. So we're going to hit return. Return. Open up the console and type in save ini. Hit enter, and that will make sure that you just saved everything you did, so that way nothing gets deleted. And now you can close it. Oh, the console is opened with tilde, which is the key to the left of the number 1 on your keyboard. It's a little squiggly. And above tab. So we're going to quit that. We'll exit the game now that we have our settings set. And I'm going to double check that my Steam overlay is still off. The first thing you're going to want to do is download and install Wrye. You can see this is what you're seeing on your side. Click the link and download it off of the Nexus. I'm going to go ahead and install this here. You're going to click yes. We're going to click next. I'm going to install it for Oblivion. If it doesn't auto find this, you have got to select your main Oblivion folder where you just installed it to on Steam. Mine is on C drive, the games folder, Steam, Steam apps, common Oblivion. What it's going to do is install a folder called Mopey. And that's where this is going to sit. Now, if you have the GOG version, here you go. It's looking for Fallout, any other locations you would like. I do not like the start menu shortcut. I will use a desktop shortcut. And I'm going to go ahead and click, we're going to run the Oblivion one currently. And we want to disable Windows 255 character path limit. And here we go. You guys can see Wrye. It is very bright. I wish there was like a dark mode. I like to immediately expand these. Some file names get pretty long. I like to see all the dates. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this. The file here also for the masters can get pretty long. So I'm going to be increasing that size. That's under the mods. You can do the same. You're going to click the installers tab and you're going to want to enable them. So we can actually get some mods installed. So hit yes. All right, then you're going to see this thing that says package last, and it just goes last. It's just so you know where the end of your installation packages lies. I imagine it's for troubleshooting of some sort. Anyway, I'm going to expand this as well. The dates that was modified. And this should be perfect. And you'll be able to see our saves here. You can see all the saves. So, pretty cool. Actually, I believe we'll be able to see our recent Nalik. This is the Let's Play we were doing. You can actually see the mods we were running, the plugins, which is pretty sweet. They're all listed here, which is very nice that it knows. Playtime of 107 hours. To familiarize yourself with Wrye, the first thing you might want to do is kind of just look at the settings, the global settings. You can see that the colors, you can change these, import and export them. Language, if you want to change that, you can use different names for Wrye. Now, these are the visible buttons in the bottom left that you're going to see here. We got auto quit disabled, so that's this red button. If I click that, it will automatically close Wrye when I open up Oblivion. I do not want to do that. I like to leave Wrye open. If I have it open, it's usually for a reason. The dock browser, we have Launch Oblivion, which you can run from Wrye, but due to some limitations I'm going to be explaining today, with Windows 11 specifically. Currently, there are problems with OBSE, which is really bad. The script extender we're going to be using to run all these mods cannot run through Wrye currently. You have your plugin checker as well, which we're going to have Boss installed for that soon. I'm not going to be explaining how to use Wrye extensively. The way you can learn how to do that is within the tree that I have sent you all. You'll be able to find useful guides in its root. And then you can see the Oblivion install is there again. And Wrye Basics, there's someone who was recommended within Bevilex's list who does a video series on understanding Wrye and at least utilizing it. Of course, you can learn it as you go through installing these alongside me. Here is that Bevilex Nexus Master Guide. The link is also here for you guys to get to what I was showing you a few minutes ago. There's also a series from someone else who did their own Bevilex install, I believe a year and a half ago, and you can find a link to his series via this link. Close this, and we're going to install a program called Boss. Okay, so when you open up Boss, again, go download that, get the installer, and make sure you run it as an admin, allow it to do its thing. Okay, so I clicked yes, and now you guys see select language. I will select English, next, and it's asking for where you want to install it. Now, what I like to do is install this next to Steam. So I'm going to click Browse. Let's see. It's going to be under C drive. So you're going to go this PC, C drive, and I'm going to find games. And you can see that's where my Steam folder is. We don't want to put it in Steam though. So we're going to click OK. And it didn't auto make a boss folder. So we're going to hit Browse again. We're already there. We're going to hit Make New Folder. I'm going to name it Boss. Install. Install is complete. Next, and we're going to run it. Don't need the README. Boss is working, and immediately, what popped up on my other monitor, you may have seen it on my face, is this. A summary. Boss version 2.3.2. That's what we're using currently. It has the plugin types recognized, sorted by boss. If it's recognized by this program, which all 12 were, unrecognized 0, inactive 1. And that would be our bashed patch that is just sitting in there. Now the master list updated version is there. You can see that 0 warnings, 0 errors, and 15 total plugins. You can go ahead and close that. So once you have Boss installed, the first thing I recommend you do is you find where you installed it. Again, so for me, it's C drive, games, Boss, and you can see Boss exe. I'm going to quickly just create a shortcut, and I'm going to put that shortcut on my desktop. I like to keep these here. The things I'm using temporarily, at least. I'm going to name this just Boss, and there it is. So we now have Boss on the desktop. And now we're going to do the same thing with Wrye Bash. So to get to Wrye Bash, you're going to go back to your games, or at least for me, navigate to your Steam folder. Steam apps, common. Now you're going to see Oblivion mods was made. Now this is because we installed Wrye Bash. This is where it's going to be storing the installers and some mod data. You can install this way if you'd like. It's a little more advanced way of installing in my opinion, but you can just drag and drop into the Bane or just Bash as well for manual install if you would like. We're going to be going through the actual Wrye Bash program to install everything. You're going to open up Oblivion and you're going to find Mopey. This folder here. Okay. Then you'll see Wrye Bash. We're going to right click that. We're going to do create shortcut. Now, if you're on, I just realized if you're on Windows 11, you can figure out how to get the advanced tooltips by like right clicking and you'll see like show more or show advanced. And then you'll be able to see all the same options that I have here. We're going to move this to the desktop and we're going to name this just Wrye Bash as such. So now we have access to both programs as we need them. Let's go ahead and open Wrye Bash. I want to show you something. You will now see Boss in the bottom left, and you can just launch Boss directly from here, as Wrye Bash has located that. The next one is called Tes 4 Edit, the Elder Scrolls 4 Edit. It's an optional program, but I recommend getting this anyway. Once you get the zip, you can copy that. I'm going to just put it straight in my games again, which I have another tab now on my games folder to save us time. I'll put this here, and I will make a new folder. I'm just going to call it Tes 4 Edit. And we're going to right click. I'm going to go WinRAR extract files, or I can just do extract all and then click extract. Since it is a 7-zip. Here's that folder. I'm just going to go ahead and move that in here. So I keep the version, delete the original zip. But now I have the version of the Elder Scrolls 4 Edit in case there's a new one. I know what I'm running. Oh, actually, wait. Let's go ahead and move this back. We don't need a folder within a folder. That looks much better. So the purpose of this is to actually clean plugins when things get messy with modding, to sort of tighten up the loose ends. That's the best way I can describe it. You'll be wanting to use this, especially if you deviate from our install list today. For sake of our guide, we're not really going to need to use Tes 4 Edit. You can still learn how it works and run it if you would like. Hey, Editing Snowy here. I'm here to remind the very optimistic Snowy that the video is beyond 30 minutes now and must stop. So you guys will have to stay tuned for the second episode in the series. A quick reminder that you are going to need to get one more program before the next episode. Otherwise, you may be lost. Snowy goes into a little more detail on it, but realizes midway through that it should have been in your programs list. So this is where this episode will conclude. You're going to go back and you're going to now see, well, there's going to be a WinRAR folder as well for you guys. You're going to need to download this. So you have to get the free version. I totally forgot to tell you guys during the initial program recording for this video. So make sure you get that. The file that I ended up downloading and installing was the WinRAR x64701. And I can show you guys that right now. Here it is. So make sure you get that. The link is, of course, in this folder. But if you do not get this, you will not be able to repackage the mods that we're going to be installing for episode 2. Oh, and a quick reminder that we're going to be playing through this version of Modded Oblivion live on our Twitch channel and our YouTube channel. The old series can already be found by looking through our playlists, but if you want to see what it looks like, I also plan to release a exclusive video of just the game and showcasing a few different regions after the build is complete. Thank you guys for tuning in and supporting this series. Let me know how you guys are feeling about it so far. I wanted originally to make this super short, super quick, but I realized that making it a little bit more extensive might be a little more interesting and easier to follow despite the increased length. All right, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a great one.